Are we ready for victory? Are we ready to get rid of the AP and UFC? Comrades, we'll begin this program in a few minutes. Come into the rally site. You learn from our leaders, you learn from our candidates. As we march on to victory, come March the 2nd. Are we ready? Come into the site, we are about to commence our program.
One people, one nation, one destiny. Together we stronger. Everybody voting for better Guyana. Guyana is the country, the beautiful country. We give it away to no other company. Vote for PPP, vote for PPP, vote for PPP. We voting out them cross, no election in Guyana. We never ever lost. Vote for PPP, we voting out them cross, no election in Guyana. We never ever lost. Guyana is the country, the beautiful country. We give it away to no other company. Vote for PPP, we voting out them cross, no election in Guyana. We never ever lost. Vote for PPP, we voting out them cross, no election in Guyana. We never
Region 5, are we ready? The comrades at the back, coming to the rally site. We're about to commence our program. I'm calling on the comrades at the back, on the public road, all the comrades along the public road coming to the rally site. We're about to commence our program. Are we ready for victory?
Comrades, let's fill up the site first before we commence our program. Let us get ready to rally with the PPPC. Let us come in from the rear and let's fill up this site. Let us make it massive here this afternoon. So come March the 2nd, the PPPC will go into government. Those comrades from the outside, kindly come into the venue, please.
One love and unity, one people, one nation, one destiny. Together we stronger. Everybody voting for better Guyana. Guyana is the country, the beautiful country. We give it a right to know our company. Vote for PPP, vote for PPP, vote for PPP. We voting out them costs, no election in Guyana. We never ever lost. Vote for PPP, we voting out them costs, no election in Guyana. We never ever lost. Guyana is the country, the beautiful country. We give it a right to know our company. Vote for PPP, we voting out them costs, no election in Guyana. We never ever lost. Vote for PPP, we voting out them costs, no election in Guyana. We never ever lost. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. PPPC, go for the cup. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. PPPC, go for the cup. We don't want to go back. It's punishment again. We have to save the country from going on the drain. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. Hands in the air, baby, a cup. PPPC, go for the cup. The backside in London, even the gold miners, everybody crying while the economy dying. We don't want to go back, line up our fire.
Yo, Guyana. One people, one nation, one destiny. So we in it to win it. Yeah, PPP, see. Hey, one people, one nation, one destiny. So we're ready for vote. Yeah, get ready for vote. PPP, we party. Hey, so come here and vote. Yeah, so we're ready for vote. Get ready for vote.
Yes, comrades, let's come in and fill up this square here. As soon as the square is filled up, we will commence our program. Those comrades on the road, let's come in and fill up the square.
Victory! Are we ready for March the 2nd? Come on, let's fill this place so we can get on with our program.
Let us fill up the square and we will commence our program. Let us ensure those comrades from the road coming in front of the stage. Let's fill up the square here and we'll commence our program.
Uncontrollable corruption, spiraling crime wave, incompetence and neglect. It's time for Granger and his cattle to go. It's time for Granger and his cattle to go.
Corruption and lying, I said it's in their hearts. Like the project at Durban Park, they can't give account for the money gone. Ramjatan and Chatman, Catty with the money gone. Guy needs people, can't you see? It's time that we put back the PPP. You must go. We can't be living the way we do. Over 4 years, it can't come true. I said the chicken with baby and you must go. I said that this in the constitution. Have no respect for we nation. Tell them back up now. Is that you? Granger boy, is that you? So long we see you. Give me a liner. Give me a liner. Give me the light that you put a long time. So long we see you. You bring the good life now. Still looking for the good life now. But let me tell you, we change your mind cause we voted look up this time now. Hey, look who. You know how long we really see you. Looks like you been hiding for you. In Pearl all this time now. Hey, look who. Look how evidence to the number on you. It's only now that the people see you. After all this time, Ranger been hiding. I thought you live for it. But don't waste your time again. The people not gonna vote you back again. So let me remind you, if finally gonna lead you, it's all of the promises we expect. 5 years now and still.
Yes, comrades and friends, we are coming in. Let us ensure everyone comes into the square here. Let us fill up the square. Let us fill up the square to capacity so that we can commence our rally. We can rally with the PPPC this afternoon.
Is that you? Granger boy, is that you? So long we see you. Give me a liner. Give me a liner. Give me the light that you put a long time. So long we see confidence. We know you would come again. Where were all the ministers? Couldn't see a minister. Now they find time to campaign, abusing taxpayers' money again. It look like they're doing alright, cause the minister's thieving twice. Stranger been hiding, I thought you live foreign. But don't waste your time again. The people are gonna vote you back again. So let me remind you, if finally don't lead you, it's all of the promises we expect. 5 years now and still nothing yet. So long way you see you, give me a lighter. Give me a lighter. Give me the lighter, just been a long time, a long, long time, a long, so long way you see you.
One love and unity, one people, one nation, one destiny. Together we stronger. Everybody voting for better Guyana. Guyana is we country, we beautiful country. We ain't give it away to no oil company. Vote for PPP, vote for PPP, vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No election in Guyana, we never ever lost. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No election in Guyana, we never ever lost. Guyana is we country, we beautiful country. We ain't give it away to no oil company. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost.
Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup.
We don't want to go back in punishment again. We have to save our country from going down the drain.
Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup. The bauxite in Linden, even the gold miners, everybody crying while the economy dying.
We don't want to go back and line up for
We
flour.
bringing back the rice and we bringing back the sugar.
Come 2020, Guyana back in power. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost. Guyana is we country, we beautiful country. We ain't give it away to no oil company. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost.
Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup.
Listen to old grandpa and listen to young Irfan and tell me who have a better vision.
Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup. Nothing happening. The whole country stand still. They hang on power. Just they pocket them a fill.
Bring out your children and bring out all your neighbor.
Canada, America, all the guys coming over.
Bring all your family and all your friends from all over. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost. Vote for PPP.
We voting out them cross.
No elections in Guyana, we never ever lost. Guyana is we country, we beautiful country. We give it away to no company.
Comrades and friends, let us ensure that we fill up the square here. Those comrades behind the stage, can you come in front the stage, comrades? Let us fill up the square, comrades. Let us fill up to capacity and rally with the PPPC.
Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. Hands in the air and wave your cup. PPPC vote for the cup.
Guyana! It's election time again! Guyana, put your hands up in the air! Come on! Here's what
progress of this blessed country. Not once did we flinch or abandon our duty, no, our duty. With blows from the British and even our own, Guyana never stopped being a place to call home. They rigged and raped, but we stayed because endured terror and repression, what a heavy cross. It is time to rally for we party and country. Vote for the PPPC. It is time to rally for we party and country. Vote for the PPPC. I am free, I am me, I have the right, vote for the PPPC. Oh yeah, I am free, oh yes I am me, I have the right, vote for the PPPC. We sing this song for our beloved Chedi, yeah. Oh, oh. And the countless others who serve for this country, yeah. Oh, oh. Good will always win against all the evil, and nobody's gonna come up.
PPP family!
Our love and loyalty to this country.
Are we ready?
Wealth and its beauty.
Are we ready for March the 2nd? Are we ready to get rid of the AP and UFC? Are we ready for victory? Are we ready to ensure that we have a PPPC government? We rally solidly for the People's Progressive Party Civic. We'll commence our program in a few minutes. So let's stand firm and rally with the People's Progressive Party Civic.
For we party and country, vote for the PPPC. It is time to rally for we party and country, vote for the PPPC. I am free, I am me, I have the right, vote for the PPPC. Oh yeah, I am free, oh yes I am me, I have the right, vote for the PPPC. Vote for the People's Progressive Party Civic. Yeah, I am free. Oh yes, I am me. I have the right, vote for the PPPC. Guyana love, we wanna feel Guyana love. The golden arrowhead flies above. So many things that Guyana I love.
Life on the sea, water the savannah. There's nowhere like Guyana.
Land of many rivers flowing free. The future is bright with the PPPC. We want to see Guyana rise with pride in our eyes. Guyana love.
Region 5, we have in our midst our presidential candidate. Let's show some love for Dr. Irfan Ali. Let's show some love for Mr. and Mrs. Irfan Ali, our next president and first lady of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Region 5, show some love. Region 5, past settlement. Let's also welcome our Prime Ministerial candidate, the next Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Mark Phillips. Region 5, we also have the champion of the earth, leader of the opposition, and General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Dr. Baron Jagdio. we witness the gathering of our leaders and candidates of the People's Progressive Party Civic, your leaders, your president, let us rally around the People's Progressive Party Region 5. Region 5, are we ready for victory? Are we ready to ensure that the People's Progressive Party Civic returns to government after March the 2nd? My brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, allow me to present to you our first speaker. I now would want to invite to the microphone a gentleman who have been working with us here in Region 5, a gentleman who have been struggling with the people of this region. I now invite Comrade Faisal Jafar Ali, our first speaker.
Region 5, are we voting PPP? Region 5, are we ready? Comrades, we in Region 5 have suffered tremendously under Granger and his cabal, and therefore, on March the 2nd, when we go to our place of poll, and we place that X next to the cup, we are saying to Granger and his cabal, time is up, you got to go. We will never forget what they did to the sugar workers, what they did to the rice farmers, what they did to the taxi drivers, what they did to the housewives, the public servants, and others. Comrades, a few days ago, Granger produced some documents, and in that document he said he would do a feasibility study, then he will give the various category. But our presidential candidate said when he took office on March the 2nd, he will reinstate the $10,000 cash grant, and he will increase it to $50,000 in the first year. Our presidential candidate don't need a feasibility study to do that. And comrades, Granger is accustomed to feasibility study and commission of inquiry, but we can't trust him. You can't trust that man. And therefore, comrades, on March the 2nd, we have a secret duty. When we go to that place of poll, ensure you have to vote twice. An X on the top and the X at the bottom. And when we do that, we will ensure that the PPP return to government, and Irfan Ali is our president of Guyana. When we do that, comrades, Brigadier retire, Mark Phillips will be our Prime Minister. You have enjoyed life under the PPP government. You have experienced the difficulties under Granger, this cabal. And therefore, comrades, the only conclusion we can all come to is to ensure that the PPP return to office. Granger came to Hope Town via helicopter, and he spoke for 23 minutes, and 26 times he called BJ name. The man is getting a nightmare. Before he sleep, he see BJ. When he wake up half night, he see BJ. In the morning, he see BJ. Because he carries no match to our former President and General Secretary, Dr. Bharat Jagdev. Comrades, on March 2nd, we need all the support, all your help on March 2nd. Use your vehicle, use your boats, whatever means you have, and assist the comrades across Region 5 and across the country. Ensure every one of us get to our place of poll. Let us put aside pettiness. Let us put aside any differences, because every vote counts. And when we do that, we will ensure PPP is back to office with A. Fanali as our president and Mark Phillips as our prime minister. Thank you, comrades.
Region 5, we vote in PPP. Comrades, allow me to call to the microphone our second speaker, a woman who have been in the struggle, a woman who would have suffered at the hands of the AP and UFC, a woman that continues to fight. I now call to the microphone Comrade Lloyda Angus.
Comrade Chairman, our party General Secretary. Oh. Yes. Comrade Chairman, our party General Secretary, Dr. Bharat Jagdev, Presidential Candidate, Dr. Ifran Ali, Prime Ministerial Candidate, Brigadier Retired Chief of Staff, Mark Phillips, members of the PPPC family, comrades and friends. This afternoon, I stand here immensely proud as a woman candidate and a member of the PPPC. Comrades, this APNUC government has made life extremely difficult for our women to put a meal on the table and to send our children to school. Under this government, the list of broken homes are many, but you know why? Most of the thousands of workers who lost their jobs are the fathers, brother, uncles, in short, the breadwinners of their families. Yes, comrades, the cash grant was also deliberately taken away. This created additional hardship for our women. Comrades, we must assure that come March the 2nd, the PPP will reverse this hardship and burden to our women. The cash grant will be restored. So March the 2nd, make sure you are out there early and place your X in the box next to the cup. Comrades, we cannot afford to spoil any vote. Remember, every depends on you. Rally with the PPPC and victory. Long live the PPPC. Thank you.
Region 5, are we ready? Our presence here today is a message, it's an indication that we have had enough of the AP and UFC. It is an indication that collectively on March 2nd, we will remove them. My brothers and sisters, allow me to introduce to you our third speaker. This is a gentleman that over the years have been fighting for the rights of the people of Region 5, especially our Amerindian brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters, allow me to invite to the microphone the former chairman of the National Tushao Council. I now invite Comrade Derek John to deliver to you this afternoon.
This afternoon, with a very humble spirit, but I feel honored to be among the best of the best. This afternoon, I want to remind you, as we approach March the 2nd, it is only a couple days from now, let us continue with the same momentum, because we have suffered for 4 long years, and I think enough is enough. I have just returned from region number 9, and to every village I have visited, there was a decry of suffering, a decry of hardship, a decry of disrespect. And I keep telling the people, come March the 2nd, we can change this. The power is in our hands. With a simple X to the cup. As an Amerindian, our land is something that is very important to us. I have served my people 6 years, and during those 6 years, as a Tushao, we have fought, and we were given the opportunity in so many ways in our indigenous communities. We have changed the landscape of people's lives that were neglected for 28 long years. And I want to let you know, in those 6 years that I have served as a Tushao, there were several communities who have never had ownership for land. Several of them today can have a land that they own as their own. From 2015, there was a lot of promises that was made to all of us Guyanese, but more so the indigenous people. But I want to tell you something, that all of those promises was just an illusion. They have made promises that they cannot today say they have fulfilled any. Look at our Amerindian people today. Since 2015, you go and ask them how many of them have received their land titles. And you can't have no positive response. But I want to let our Amerindian people know that come March the 2nd, you put your X. We will continue to do land market, and we will give you titles to your lands. So when we vote for the COP on March the 2nd, what we are voting for? We are voting to bring back progress to Guyana. We are voting for the future of our children. We are voting for the best leadership, not a corrupt leadership that we have seen for the 4 past years. We are voting for a leadership that is dynamic, a leadership that has a plan to take Guyana forward. There are several things I want to talk about this afternoon, but I know there are other speakers that would cover the things that you would want to hear. But I want to just remind you, my brothers and sisters, let us continue the momentum, let us continue the unity, and let us take Guyana forward with the PPPC on March the 2nd.
It is clear, my brothers and sisters, that the People's Progressive Party Civic is the only government that can govern for all of Guyana. It is clear, my brothers and sisters, that the People's Progressive Party Civic government is the only government that cares. My brothers and sisters, I now invite to the microphone Barbie's talent, a young man that will deliver to you in music. I now call on stage Wiz Phil to entertain you this afternoon.
Region 5, how y'all feeling this afternoon? Wow, I love the vibe, How y'all feeling? Let me see you put the flags in the air. Let everybody know who y'all voting for. On March the 2nd, who y'all voting for? Let me hear you scream it. I can't hear you. Louder. Alright. Yeah, Vic. Ha! I want to see when the song starts, everybody put their flags up like this, right?
One people, one nation, one destiny.
Hey! 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 Flags up! Yeah!
Hey! One people, one nation, one destiny.
Yeah!
So we're ready for vote. Yeah, get ready for vote. PPP, yeah, we party.
Yeah!
Hey! So come to report. So we're ready for vote. Yeah, get ready for vote. PPP are the winning party. Hey, so come to report. Hey, they promised we the change, but we never get the change yet. And we still here waiting. It's been 4 years since we get a new government. Yeah, and we tired of the suffering. No more estate, no more employment. They shut down all the factories. Now the workers left without a job. And we can't put your flags on outside. 2020, this is how we here now. Unity and love, yeah, we are share. One people, one nation, one destiny. Wave their flags up high up in the air. Onward, upward, we're taking the country. Take it back, PPPC. No more empty promises, Guyana. We take it back, the country. Hey, so we're ready for vote. Yeah, they're ready for vote. Hey, PPP, yeah, we party. Hey, so come to report. Yeah, so we're ready for vote. Put your flags up. Get ready for it up. Hey, 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 listen up. Hey, everybody vote now. Where is people? March on the road now. Wave your flags them high in the sky. Make them know so we're proud now. We're not going back. Hey, PPP and the party for the people. Not just skin color, everybody equal. So go and put your eggs in the cup. Make the opposition know Guyanese and give up. Cause 2020, this is how we here now. Unity and love, yeah, we share. One people, one nation, one destiny. Wave your flags them high up in the air. Put it up. Yeah, take it back. PPPC,
PPPC. No more empty promises, Guyana. We taking back we country. Let me hear you sing. So we're ready to vote. Who we voting for? Put it up. Put it up. Hey. Yeah. So come here we vote. Yeah. So we're ready for vote. Yeah, we're ready for vote. PPP, yeah, we party. So come on, listen. Hey, you promised we the change, but we never get the change yet. And we still here waiting. It's been 4 years since we get the new government, yeah. And we tired of the suffering. No more estate, no more employments. They shut down all the factories. Now the workers left without a job, and we can't make no money. Hey, 2020, this how we here now. Unity and love, yeah, we share. One people, one nation, one destiny. Bring your flags and put it up. Hey, word up what we're taking the country, taking back PPPC. No more empty promises, Guyana. We taking back the country. Put the flags up. Hey. So we're ready for vote. Yeah. So we're ready for vote. Hey. PPP, yeah, and we party. Hey, so come here we vote. Yeah. So we're ready for vote. So we're ready for vote. Yeah. PPP, yeah, the winning party. Hey, so come here we vote. Put the flags up, let everybody know say who we voting for. Scream for PPP. Scream. Thank you very much.
Region 5, indeed we're ready to vote. We're ready to ensure that the People's Progressive Party Civic returns to government. My brothers and sisters, I'll now invite to the microphone our fourth speaker. I want to call Comrade Joe Hamilton to deliver to Region 5 this afternoon.
Okay, Region 5. This afternoon, as we gather in the name of the People's Progressive Party Civic, and to say to Granger and the government, we're taking back we country on the 2nd of March. Comrades and friends, the elections of March 2nd, 2020, it's about a party that put money in your pocket. That is the People's Progressive Party Civic. And another party led by Granger, the APNU AFC, that took money out your pocket. So on March 2nd, you will vote resoundingly to put back money in your pocket. You will vote for the People's Progressive Party Civic. For you the farmers that are unable to feed your children and take care of your family, we would ensure that you return to your work. We would ensure that money is once again in your pocket. For you the children that Granger robbed and the parents, we would ensure that money return to your pocket. These elections are what I call the pocketbook elections. So when you vote March the 2nd, 2020, you are voting for your pocket, comrades. No more will your children go hungry. No more will our men not being able to look their wives in their faces when they say that they're unable to feed their children. Granger's castrated our men by taking away their jobs. We will return dignity and pride to our men because we would ensure they return to work so that they can take care of their families. Comrades and friends, these elections about you. They're about your children. They're about your grandchildren. They're about your region, your village, and this great country of ours. And that is the reason why on March 2nd, we will go there early And by 12 o'clock, we would finish off Granger by voting for the People's Progressive Party City. You must be part of this great movement to take our country back to prosperity and development. That's why Region 5, we are continuing our Guyana to ensure that you elect El Family as your next president and Mark Phillips as your next prime minister, so that this country of ours can continue to move forward. This great country of ours shall once again prosper and progress under the People's Progressive Party Civic. Thank you very much for coming.
Give it up for Comrade Joe Hamilton. Region 5. Are we ready for victory? We will vote solidly for the People's Progressive Party Civic come March the 2nd. Region 5. I am most honored this afternoon to invite to the microphone our 5th speaker, a gentleman that would have contributed to the development of this country with distinction, and a gentleman that with your vote, with our vote, will continue to contribute to the development of our communities and our country. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite to the microphone our Prime Ministerial candidate and the next Prime Minister of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Brigadier, retired Mark Phillips.
Are you ready for victory? Comrades, Granger is hearing you. Are you ready for victory? Comrades, based on my intelligence, Granger's supposed to be meeting with the military veterans. Now, as we have this rally here, he's trying to get the old boys to vote for him. And at the same time, they have a gang that is cleaning the Repentier Cemetery because they hope to hold a meeting there very soon. But comrades, we are all alive here, and we all voting for the PPPC. We respect the old people that served, and we respect the dead, but we don't need a vote. We have the live vote. This is the vote. Comrades, the last time they had a big rally in West Berbice, you know what? They Photoshop and they put mountains behind. They took a photograph from Jamaica with people in green with the blue mountains, and they said I had a big crowd. Comrades, these people are confused. They went to let them. They Photoshop again, but they didn't put the mountains. Let them go mountains. But you know what, comrades? We ain't Photoshopping. We showing them the real crowd. The real red crowd. This is the Red Army, part of the Red Revolution that will return power to the PPPC. Comrades, it is a revolution. Everywhere we went, the length and breadth in this country, the turnout has been massive. With the color red, the most important color now to restore democracy in Guyana and to restart development in Guyana, the color red. When you wear red, you're telling the whole country that you not only voting for the PPPC, but you're voting for progress in Guyana. You're voting for professional leadership in Guyana. Comrades, this is serious. Somebody said before me, come the 2nd of March, by May-Day time. By May-Day time, we must finish the voting so they can start counting early. So they could start counting early, comrades, because we ain't giving them another chance. We've been marking time for 4.5 years. We have to quick march. We have to quick march the development of Guyana. Get these people out, comrades. Very serious. We have to get them out. And comrades, you know what? I know they're listening keenly to me. The last time I had a meeting in New Amsterdam, I looking through my notes, they say I'm sleeping on the stage. I eat too much of cook-up rice. So they're listening keenly on Facebook, on social media. I made a mistake and I said, I referred to our new president, our next president, as the Minister of Health as against the Minister of Housing. You know what he said? That we delivering 50,000 healthy house lots and houses to the people. But we like those jokes. You know why? It shows that they're listening to the message. Because our message is a message for all Guyana, all Guyanese. Comrades, we have a list. We have a national list that represents all races in Guyana, represent all the genders in Guyana, all religion, all the people of Guyana. And when we win this election, we're developing Guyana for all the people of Guyana. So you know the supporters are listening. And you know what? Trust me, many of the supporters may not change from green to red, but they will quietly go in the polling place and put the X next to the cup. That is important, comrade, the X next to the cup. Comrades, we suffered too long. We restored democracy in 1992. We developed Guyana from 1992 to 2015. And you know what? As true Democrats, we accepted the results in 2015 because these guys had a blueprint. We left a blueprint for the development of Guyana, and we left a lot of money in several accounts in the bank. And you know what they did from 2015 to now? They spent 1.3 trillion Guyana dollars, and they can't show you nothing substantial. When I go into the interior and I talk to some of my friends at Madia and let them, in Kaitumo, they said, they had a manifesto in 2015 with a lot of concrete promises, but they only gave me concrete roads. The people are starving. 200 new taxes and fees. Many of you people here, you pay more. You pay more for the land that you farm in. Isn't that so? More fees. This unconscionable government levy more fees against you. More taxes. Less money in your pocket for you to spend on your family. And guess what? To add insult to injury, they took away the $10,000 a month we care that we've been giving you. Right? And now they're running scared, comrade. I think they're running mad because, there's a whole saying, who the gods want to destroy, the force make mad. So I think the gods making them mad right now. They flip-flopping. You know what? Every day, they're changing the message. Recently, they put out a booklet that they call a manifesto. But when Granger decided to talk to the people, he said it's a contract. But I got scared right away because these people are not good at contracts. How can he call the notebook that they want to call a manifesto, He's now calling it a contract. We have to be scared when people call these things contracts, because this is the same people that went to Texas and signed a contract and walk away and left 55 billion US dollars on the table in Texas. 55 billion US dollars of your money, my money, they left in Texas. Would you vote for them, comrades? Comrades, $55 billion that we could have spent over the next 40 years, increasing the soldier's salary, increasing the nurse's salary. In fact, we could have doubled the salaries of everybody here, including the sweeper cleaner, the policemen, the public servants. If you get, $70,000, with that money, we could say, here, we can give you $140,000 right away without even bothering about it, because 55 billion US dollars is a hell of a lot of money. These people walk away and left that on the table, and now they come asking you for your vote. They have the manifesto, the notebook, and they call it a contract. Well, comrade, that is not a contract that you should be interested in. You should be interested in our plan for prosperity, our manifesto, because that is the plan that will take Guyana forward for the next 5 years, starting the 2nd of March 2020. Comrades, some people say this election is the mother of all elections. Some of them say it's a war between two brigadiers. But I am the younger brigadier, and I'm not going to fight with no older brigadier. The older brigadier had his chance. This is our time, the PPPC time. This is the time for me to become the Prime Minister and support the next President, Dr. Irfan Ali, in the development of Guyana. This is the time that we need to look at the poster of David Granger and say, time up, David. Time up. Old man, Papi, go and rest yourself. Rub your knee. I got enough snake oil for you. If you want olive oil or coconut oil, we could get it for you too. We know your pension big. Rest yourself. Comrades, because this is the man, I talked about the contract already, the oil contract. Those people led by Granger were asleep when that oil contract was signed. I don't even want to say we get the dirty end of the stick. I didn't think we get a stick. We didn't even see the stick. Because the money is not coming our way, but we, the PPPC, when we formed the government, we've already committed to renegotiating all those contracts. Because the people of Guyana deserve better, and the people of Guyana will get better with the PPPC. Comrade, if you're to judge this guy, not only on how they dealt with oil and they were sleeping, look at crime. Crime is high and out of control. And we will deal with the criminal situation in this country. Granger went to London and he said he get high. He get high off of marijuana. He feel like he was in Jamaica. He feel he could have touched the sky. But you know what? We will deal with the criminal situation in Guyana. Comrade, economic decline. Economic decline. Who caused us to lose 30,000 jobs? Who caused us to lose 30,000 jobs? Who promised thousands of jobs in 2015? The same Granger, who is a danger, caused us to lose 30,000 jobs from 2015 to 2019. We cannot vote him into power again. It's a done deal. Time up, David. Shout time up, David. Comrade, comrade, these people lack vision. These people lack vision. I'm still to see a strategic plan for Guyana developed by this administration. But you know what? They're good cargos. They can copy good. Right? They've been taking our plans and implement it. But even though they're good cargos, they're good copiers, they're not good implementers. It took us to go to let them hold a rally and tell them that while you build the road, the plan said you must put lights too. And guess what? They put the lights before they rally. So while we are in opposition, we still have to urge this government to do their work. But this is the government that wants to hold on to power in a dictatorial manner. They're a bunch of bullies. Comrades, December 2018, we had a no confidence motion and we voted this government out of office. But you know what? They bring in a new kind of maths, a coalition maths. And they try to fool you and fool us by saying 34 is the majority, the simplest majority in the House. And they spend over $100 million Guyana dollars to go to the final court, the Caribbean Court of Justice, where they were hoping to prove that 34 was the right maths. But the court told them 33 is the right maths. That is the right maths that we know, the traditional maths. And yet they continue to hold on to government. They continue to squat in the office and show scant regard for our constitution. Comrade, this is a dictatorship that we now have an opportunity to get rid of. And we must get rid of this dictatorship. Are you voting for the coalition? Comrade, you gotta shout. You gotta shout hard, and that's so they could hear. You know why? Because if you shout hard and they hear that you're not voting for the coalition, they will stop spending the government money trying to campaign all over this country. They're using the helicopter, and I know they're using government resources to campaign all over this country. It's a futile effort by this coalition government. It's a useless effort because as far as I'm concerned, they already lost the election. And this is a victory. This is a victory rally. This is the first of many victory rallies that we will have over the next 14 days. And after we put the stamp on the election on the 2nd of March, we'll have further victory rallies. Comrades, we have laid out in our manifesto a set of measures to deal with crime and security in this country. The coalition can't even copy. They come with a whole set of harum-scarum plans to deal with crime and security. But we recognize that it's important that we have safer communities in Guyana. Not only so you could rest comfortably in your homes, knowing that your property is safeguarded, but also to attract foreign direct investors, foreign direct investments to this country, comrade. And therefore, one of the first things that we will do is to implement our anti-crime and security strategy for Guyana. We will provide more equipment, facilities, and training for the law enforcement personnel. We will improve the investigative and forensic capabilities of the law enforcement agencies, comrade. Just listen to me. We will expand and use modern technology and intelligence in the fight against crime throughout Guyana. We will expand intelligence gathering and processing capability of law enforcement agencies in order to promote intelligence-led policing throughout Guyana. We will ensure greater accountability by the police for solving crime in Guyana. We will provide better remuneration and conditions of service for personnel in the security forces. We will decentralize crime-fighting resources and capabilities across Guyana. We will enhance the security capabilities in the hinterland in support of mining, forestry, and Amerindian villages. We will strengthen the Financial Intelligence Unit and the Customs Anti-Narcotic Unit because we will increase international cooperation in the fight against smuggling of narcotics. Comrades, we need to also look at road safety. Over the last 3 years, we had over 120 deaths on our roads, and we will implement policies to make our roads safer throughout Guyana. We will improve the prison system, and we will put the prisoners to work. They have to learn a trade. We will rehabilitate them. And most of all, comrades, we will return the bonus paid to the hard-working men and women of the joint services. And you know what? We have oil and gas, and it's important that we spend more money on the Guyana Defense Force so we could secure our borders and we could have the necessary equipment, vessels, etc., to patrol our exclusive economic zone. We must know what is going on out there, where the oil is being brought up and shipped to the refineries. Very important. That is in a nutshell our crime, anti-crime and security policy for Guyana, comrades. This is a caring government that you will get on the 2nd of March. All you have to do is vote for us. Vote us into power on the 2nd of March, comrades. You want more? Comrades, this will be a caring government. This is a government that will return to free education from nursery to university. This is a government that will launch 20,000 online scholarships so people can continue to work and continue to go to school while they're working. You use the internet and you continue studying. As I said before, we will restore the cash grant. Granger took it away, we will give it back to you. We give you $10,000 a year when we had no oil and gas, but we have oil and gas now. We'll give you $10,000 for the first year and increase it up towards $50,000 by year number 5. We will expand the school feeding program, and we will increase the vouchers that is paid out for uniform. And also, we will give tax incentives for private schools, private educational institutions. Comrades, these are just some of the measures, but I don't want to give you all the measures because I know we have the champion of the earth is coming, and we have our next president coming. But I want to impress upon you that when you vote on the 2nd of March, you're voting to restore democracy in Guyana. You're voting out this dictatorial government, this unconstitutional government. And you know what? Right now there's a war of words as to whether some congressmen and some diplomats use unconstitutional in describing the government. But we know that they're unconstitutional. You know that they're unconstitutional. So it doesn't matter who congressman or congresswoman or whichever diplomat remove the word unconstitutional. We know that they're unconstitutional and we are voting them out come the 2nd of March. start the development of Guyana. We're quick marching into the future with oil and gas, with all the other resources, and with you at the center of development. So vote for the PPPC come the 2nd of March. Thank you.
We vote in PPPC. We said to Granger and his cabal, they can continue to run and hide. But we in Region 5 understand, we know that Moon run till they catch them. And that day is the 2nd of March when we will collectively remove them from office. My brothers and sisters, I would now want to invite to the microphone one of our very own, a gentleman that will entertain you in music. Comrades and friends, let's give a dynamite welcome to Ari Gale.
Region 5. You know, on March 2nd, we're going to vote them out. And this is why.
Decide the next government. Your vote will elect the next president. Your vote must protect our democracy. It's up to your vote now who run this country. If the cost of living got you living hands out, vote out the APNU, vote them out. When the economy in crisis, change must come about. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If you forgive Granger power, now you have a doubt. The same way you vote him in, vote him out. End your suffering, vote them out. Wasteful spending, vote them out. End this corruption, vote them out. Discrimination, vote them out. Vote them out with no regrets and utter disdain. Let us build Guyana together again. Vote out the APNU and the ANC too. Make them culprits suffer for punishing you. All right.
We're voting them out.
Children cry, they belly empty. You don't have a job, can't feed family. If they live like kings while you struggling, promising you more and give you nothing. If they are the reason why the economy can't out, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is a passing laws that them alone can flout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If they treat the Constitution like a puppy show, if it's you who vote them in, vote them out. Take a friend and vote them out. March the 2nd, vote them out. Stain your finger, vote them out. Rescue the nation, vote them out. Help us end corruption and hypocrisy. Restore the rule of law and democracy. Vote out Ramjatan and Nagamutu. Make them pay a heavy price for betraying you.
Vote out this cabal.
If you lose your car or your property, bank take that away. You owe enough money, can't afford to send your children to school. No money for transpi or buy them some food. If the crime rate have you frightened, ban this all about. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. When you pay more for power, but every day blackout. When you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If after the CCJ rule, they don't want to get out. If it's you who vote them in, vote them out. Ranger dishonest, vote him out. Shameless and useless, vote him out. He has no decency, vote him out. No integrity, vote him out. When Minister Stephen and they lie to you, that's good enough reason to vote out Abnu. All the resources gone, treasury empty. They're waiting for Exxon to spend all money.
All right. Hear this one.
55 billion US will not come to we. Trump must sign away our patrimony for a wedding feast in the Spice Island. All the contracts that they sign stick with corruption. If you apply for a house lot but getting pushed about, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If the doctor write prescription, but all the drugs run out, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If we cannot see the progress that they talk about, if it's you who put them in, vote them out. Reject APN, you vote them out. Volker Lawrence to vote her out. In Barbizon, let them vote them out. GTL Linden, vote them out. In Anna Regina, vote them out. All over Guyana, vote them out.
All right. Give it up for Harry Gale. PPP family. The People's Progressive Party is by far the only multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and multi-talented political party in this country. My brothers and sisters, it is with great pleasure I introduce to the microphone our next speaker, a man who has been in the forefront of the struggle of for all Guyanese, a man that has been working tirelessly to return democracy to this our country. My brothers and sisters, Region 5, let's give a dynamite welcome to the leader of the opposition and General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Dr. Brigadier.
Thank you. I had to take off the hat. I keep saying it's the hardships of the Granger administration that caused me to lose all my hair. And when the PPP gets back in office, when Irfan Ali is the next president of Guyana, I'll try to grow back some of this here. But comrades, joke apart, you're here today for a serious cause. You're here because of an impending elections 2 weeks from now. And I stand here today with a great sense of nostalgia. I remember speaking right here in 2015. The crowd was smaller at that time, and saying to people that should APNU win these elections, that our country will be on the decline, that much of the freedom that we are accustomed to will be eroded, and that our people will suffer. And that was not prophetic. It was just an examination of reality. And what did we base that reality on? Because they had a long period in office, 28 years, when we saw the economic philosophy that they practiced at work. And by the end of that period, in 1992, the hardships had manifested themselves. The economy was totally destroyed. And so we knew what was to come. We knew people had to flee Guyana. There was no food for our people. There were no jobs at that time. The country was overburdened with debt. And we also knew that in the 28 years of rule, they did not use that period to enhance freedoms. In fact, they remained in office through rigged elections. And so we knew there would have been an assault on democratic values. So when we spoke about this in 2015, many people fell in love with the promises they heard from APNU and AFC at that time. The sugar workers, the rice farmers, the pensioners, many others, young people, all thought that this administration would do something to improve their lives. And today, we don't have to tell you what has happened, because you have seen every single promise broken. You've seen the deterioration in every single sector. You have seen the hardships that people face now, and people want this change. And that's why I have no fear that the outcome on March 2nd will be anything but a PPP victory. Comrades, I spoke at the Edward Village, and I spoke at Bushlot, and Irfan spoke at Blaymont, and you've had hundreds of meetings right across this country. And many of you have heard the core messages of the People's Progressive Party. You've been familiar with the plan that we put out 4 months ago, and what the content of that plan is for every sector, for mining, for forestry, for agriculture, for young people, for education, for healthcare, for security, for development, for job creation, to reduce cost of living. We have outlined specific measures in a plan that we put out 4 months ago, and we've been talking about on our platform. And you're familiar with those things. And so I'm not going to belabor this point. But often in a campaign, as you get closer to elections day, there are lots of new issues that come up all the time. And today, what you see at play is a few things that I want to address. So we know that this is the most corrupt government ever in our history. That the Inter-American Development Bank issued a report last year which said that we have now ranked #1 in bribery in the Caribbean. We know that the United States State Department 2 years ago put out a report to say that government corruption is the primary source of money laundering. We know that 20 ministers did not, and members of parliament from APNU did not submit their statements to the Integrity Commission last year, breaking the law. We know that Granger in 5 years did not submit his statement to the Integrity Commission. We know that there is $600 million missing from the Durban Park project, billions of dollars missing from various sectors. So if anybody needs more evidence about corruption, all they have to do is to check the Auditor General's report about documented cases of corruption, and they should check the reports coming from the constitutional body, the PPC, that is the Procurement Commission, the National Procurement Commission. So, comrades, I'm not going to try to prove this, what is already been proven. If you open the newspapers every single day, you see massive acts of corruption. In December alone last year, the cabinet approved 80 contracts, illegally so. They signed some in January, contrary to the procurement laws of the country. 2 of those contracts alone run to $1.3 billion. Just imagine 80 of them were signed. We've seen them renting a house and calling it a drug bond for $12.5 million a month. We have seen ministers acquiring newfound wealth immediately. We've seen them buying up large tracts of land right here in Region 5 and parts of Region 4 in the Mahaika area. You see some developments going on there. Those are owned by ministers right across the country, acquiring things, and they don't account for it. And guess what? Granger is the only man who doesn't know about corruption. And so imagine in the Kite Shore News today, the Kite Shore News that used to every single act. If someone stole a bicycle, it had to be the PPP and Jagdeo in the past. But now in the article today, they said the contract that Granger government gave to one of their cronies for $827 million that was signed on the 2nd of June and the 2nd of January of this year, a contract for a school that you can build for $400 million, but they doubled the price. That Granger and Jagdeo must answer for that. Now Jagdeo, we in the PPP, we're in the opposition. We must answer for Granger's corruption. We must answer why they borrowed $21 million for technical assistance to the Energy Department. You know why they're doing that? They're not blaming Granger, and they're trying to say PPP must answer for things that they're doing now, their acts of corruption. Is because in this country, people are scared. The newspaper people, the people from organizations like TIGI, they knew that under the PPP, nobody would harass them, even if they said adverse things about us. But under Granger, they're fearful for their lives, and that is why you see that here today. So I want you to understand precisely what's going on, that there is a fear element even in the media circles of this country. they're worried they don't call a spade a spade. And if they did, then everybody would conclude that Granger is responsible, personally responsible for all these acts of corruption as the chair of cabinet. They want to hide him from that label so they can then come and post his picture around the place and put next to it honesty and decency. There is nothing honest or decent about Granger. He has condoned all these acts of corruption. That's the first thing that I wanted to say today. The next thing is that we have seen a new trust. So we are the only multi-ethnic party in this country. And I want to address many voters who have been bombarded by a bunch of lies. Not the PPP supporters, you who are here today, but use the platform of this rally to talk to those people who've been told a lot of lies about this party. That from Cheddy Jagan's day, that this is a racist party. But Cheddy Jagan had not a single racist bone in his body. He set up a party for all Guyana in 1950. People of every race, every religion, every class of person, every gender, women and men. Our party included everybody, rich and poor, in the struggle for freedom from colonial rule and then freedom from the PNC dictatorship. And track how we have managed the country between 1992 and 2015. All across Guyana, people made progress, whether they were in the rice sector or the sugar workers or any other, or miners, or in Linden or in Berbice or Region 5. They all saw their lives improve. Amerindian villages were not excluded from development. So when you talk about the PPP, the reason we stayed in office for 23 years is because we are the only national party. Only national party. And so, comrades, I see a new trend. In a couple of papers, the ERC said we signed a code of conduct last week. And the ERC prohibits the laws of our country that the PPP put in place, prohibits party from contesting along racial lines. But look at the newspapers today. They're saying now mixed people must vote for the small parties because the two big parties are racist. But this is a clever strategy. Mixed people, Afro-Guyanese, Indo-Guyanese, Amerindians, and people of every other race, Portuguese, Chinese, are all members of the People's Progressive Party. All members of the PPP. Why should they vote for some of these parties that have no program? Why should they vote for APNU that is partisan and exclusionary? They all have one home, and that home is the People's Progressive Party. That is the home. But this new strategy is to balkanize the votes again. They want to balkanize the vote, split it up. So they're hoping this is an APNU strategy. Because look who's writing these letters. It's people who are always supporting APNU, like one Maxwell or something like that. They know that if they can split people's votes again, that then they may still maintain the majority. And I want you to understand that we can never let this happen, because you have to ensure that the only party that the only party that has a plan for all of Guyana and all its people is the People's Progressive Party. So do not be fooled
in the last 2 weeks, you're going to hear about every party who loves you now. They didn't fight. None of these smaller parties stood up and fought against APNU in the past 4.5 years. It was your party and you alone waging that battle to keep Guyana going and in freedom. So now there is this big thing about mixed people. Look at, everybody has a home in the PPP. Don't waste your vote there. Comrades, there is something, the next thing I want to deal with is about plans. You have heard about our plans. So APNU, and this is for APNU supporters, they're coming around and saying to their supporters, oh, we're going to give you a cash grant. After they heard they took away the $10,000 from the children and opposed cash grants from the oil money. They opposed it. Then 2 weeks ago, Granger changed and promised the supporters that. And then 2 days ago, at the launch of their manifesto, guess what he said? He said, we will have to do a feasibility study to see if you can get a cash grant. So they're telling their supporters one thing on the platform, but what they've committed to in writing is very different. Well, they did not do a feasibility study when they increased the ministers' salaries to over $1 million a month. They didn't do a feasibility study. They didn't do a feasibility study when they bought 44 new vehicles for Granger's office. They didn't do a feasibility study when they spent $600 million to send the ministers and their families abroad for health care. But they need a feasibility study to decide if your children should get back $10,000. Well, we did it without oil, and with oil, you know what will happen. You're going to get back that money, and it will go to 50,000. And we don't need a feasibility study. And even without oil, we would have done it. Even if we didn't have oil, we would have done it. Because how are we going to do it? We're going to cut out the $1.1 billion more that these ministers spend on local travel. We're going to cut out the $1 billion more per year that they spend on rentals of building. Another nearly $1 billion more on maintenance of vehicles. $1.6 billion more on food in the government. If we cut all of those things, then we can afford the cash grant to the children without oil money. And we can give the pensioners double what they're getting without this. So, this region is an agricultural region. You know what has happened right here. You know that they add the VAT on machinery and equipment. You know they add the VAT on pesticides and fertilizers. You know they've cut out the drainage and irrigation budget to MMA. They've cut farm to market roads. They increased the rentals by 500%. And Granger came to Hope Town and said to people, I want you to go into agriculture. This is the duplicity, the lying, barefaced, lying gentleman telling the people. So in their manifesto, they want to do two things. They want to give young people, a kit to start agriculture. You're giving them a kit to start agriculture, but the taxation policies have destroyed the very essence of the industry. And then Granger can't even get a donkey cart to work well. He wants to bring drones to fertilize the rice fields here. That is in their manifesto, this useless piece of document that they're peddling around. Pure nonsense, utter, unadulterated nonsense. So comrades, don't pay any heed to this thing, the booklet they call manifesto. Because how could anybody in this country in their right mind believe anything that APNU says? How could you believe anything they say when everything that they put in their manifesto in 2015, and the manifesto in 2015 was 10 times the size of the one they have now, they failed to implement. So comrades, don't be seduced by this nonsense of new promises. The next thing I want to talk about, that you understand the state of denial, and even for APNU supporters, how this government is barefaced, can do things with impunity. Now this whole country has been calling for Trotman to be investigated because of that criminal deal that he made in relation to oil and gas. The Global Witness, an international NGO, urged that they investigate him and Nigel Hughes for potential conflict of interest. Ramjatan Granger has been silent on this. We lost $55 billion because of this deal. You know what that works out to? 55 billion US dollars multiplied by the exchange rate gives us over 11 trillion Guyana dollars. If you divide 11 trillion by the number of people, man, woman, and child in Guyana, guess what you get? $15 million Guyana dollars per person. That's what we lost because of this criminal negotiation. And Granger, they were hiding Trotman. Now he's come out back. Granger doesn't say a single word about this, whether he's going to look into the arrangement, etc. He brings Trotman out to the manifesto launch, and guess what Trotman said? Trotman said, people love our colors, the green and the yellow. The babies are wearing this color, and even the animals have started wearing them too. This is the man who we put to negotiate on our behalf with the oil companies. And comrades, don't worry. We've made it clear that after March 2nd, lots will change with those contracts. We have made it clear that more has to come to Guyana and Guyanese. The oil belongs to our people. And this oil didn't start with PNC or APNU. In 1999, it was Janet Jagan who signed that contract. And we worked all through the period. They found oil under the PPP. And then this government came in with the giveaway deals. And so you're going to see much more coming from that. These oil companies will be forced by law, not by a government that is in their pockets or is afraid of them, that going to beg for more. They will be forced by laws, a strong local content legislation where they have to spend more on Guyana, on Guyanese businesses, employ more of our people, train more of our people, have more money coming in to the treasury so we can spend it on agriculture, on mining, on forestry, so we can support the children. We can put some in education and healthcare. That's where our money must go from. So look out for that after March 2nd. You're not going to have a government that kowtows or kneels before any foreign company in this country. You're not going to have that sort of government. That is what this country wants. Comrades, we have seen in this manifesto, let me tell you
half of the manifesto is about green strategy and nothing for the miners. The miners are in uproar. As I said before, so too are people from the agriculture sector. I don't know which right-thinking miner would want to vote for this government because they will destroy all the jobs in the mining sector too. But the Green State strategy is an utter nonsense. We had the LCDS that earned $200 million US from the sale of forest carbon. We left that money with APNU and they've practically squandered that money too. So we'd have to return to strategies that generate jobs and that can really help our economy, not statements of declaration or declarations of intent. This is what we get in their manifesto. So comrades, this is also important that you understand this. And the last point I will make, the last point is that there are lots of fears about rigged elections because people across Guyana understand that the only way the APNU can win these elections if there is rigging. And they are busy trying to sell that to some of their supporters who have fears. But don't let them scare you, because all along the way, we have had to put up a fight to prevent this happening. And your party is watching them, and we are very strong too. Don't underestimate the People's Progressive Party. You never underestimate them. We had to stop, we had to get the illegally appointed Justice Patterson at GCOM when Granger repudiated the Constitution, when he broke 25 years of tradition and rejected 18 names and appointed Patterson. We had to go all the way to the Caribbean Court of Justice to get him removed, because if today Patterson was still there, we would have never had free and fair elections. And so we got him removed. Secondly, Patterson had signed an order before he left, and they used that order to start the house-to-house exercise, registration exercise. And we recognize if we had gone down that route, we would have been in big trouble, because they would have dropped names from many of our strongholds, and the list would have been so bad that you would lose the elections using that list, or alternatively, the elections would have been delayed, like what happened in 1990, when Dr. Jagan had to give 2 additional years to Desmond Hoyt to fix the list. So he got 7 years as president. They were aiming for that too, and we managed to stop it. Justice Roxanne George made a clear statement that you cannot remove people's names from the voters list. And that decision was just upheld in our Court of Appeal. Then thirdly, they tried to take 37,000 names and merge it to the voters list, unverified names. And we fought that off too. And only verified people are now on the list. And even after that, they tried to make adjustments. And we've been urging people to be vigilant. So every single one of you here, wherever you're from, the voters list is out. Check your names on that list. Ensure that you're in the right place and you know where you're voting. And if you're displaced into another division, make plans to go there and vote. Every vote matters, comrades. And the second thing is that within GCOM itself, within GCOM, we have now a number of international technical assistance from India, from Ghana, from Canada, from Jamaica, from help from the United States of America. They're watching within GCOM to see there is no tampering
with any process. And then on election day itself, and even now, there are observers from the OAS, the Carter Center, Commonwealth, etc. They're watching too. And we now have to make sure that we have strong polling agents to go to every single area where they will try to tamper with elections. So I want to say to you that we are watching this carefully. Don't think that they are going to get away with skullduggery, because if they do, then the elections could go in their favor, and they're not going to succeed in that, because on March 2nd, the PPP shall emerge victorious. So, comrades, make sure, as everybody has been saying who comes up here, that we're in the last stretch. We've run the most of the distance. It's been a hard battle to get here. We have had to fight them tooth and nail in Parliament and everywhere to get to this point. We're 2 weeks away. Let's accelerate. The sprint is now on. We can't let down now. And I'm counting on all of you, every one of you here, that you stand your ground in those lines. Apart from bringing everyone out, make sure the fishermen don't go to work on that day, because there are many of them who may want to go. Most of them have promised me not to. If your relatives are abroad and they're on the voters list, call them back to vote. They have a duty to do so. They're voting to reverse all of the hardships. Bring every member of the family out. You go to the polling place. If it's raining all morning, we stay in the rain. We go with our umbrellas. And if it's sunshine, we also stay there. No matter how long it takes, if they slow down the process, we stand our ground all day long. We can give 1 day for freedom in this country, and I'm counting on you to do that. So before I leave, I just want to say to the members of the joint services, Mark spoke about it, that who will be voting on the 21st, the soldiers and the policemen and others. I saw an ad by Granger targeting the disciplined forces. And my first thought was, this is unprecedented in the country, that a sitting head of state and commander-in-chief will be so partisan. Parties can make their pitch, but when he does it on his own, and there is a hierarchy in the army, then it is totally unethical. But apart from the unethical nature of his plea to the disciplined forces, suddenly he loves members of the disciplined forces, and suddenly he wants to address their concerns. But what has happened in the 4.5 years? This is the fifth year now. What has happened? He took away their 1 month tax-free bonus, and then his minister of finance said they had to take it away from the soldiers and the prison officers and the fire servicemen and the policemen, because the PPP was bribing them with a 1 month tax-free bonus. That is what the reason they took it away. In the meantime, Granger's bonuses, his allowances, his ministers skyrocketed. Their salaries doubled, but they were taken. Why didn't they say that was a bribery too? And then Granger interferes in management, in the police complaints authority, in all the police commission, service commission. They put one of their guys there, a Paul Slow, who's been so partisan and been treating a lot of the policemen unfairly. They brought political interference into all the services, bypassing many people in the army People who serve a particular period could have retired with full benefits under the PPP. They eliminated that, and soldiers now have to serve out their full time. And if they don't, then they lose all their benefits. So now our policemen and soldiers and others have a chance to vote for the restoration of their 1 month bonus when they do so on March 21st. Not March 21st of this month. And they have a duty to vote to end political interference in their services. So they will be voting shortly. And I just had to leave that message with them, because total disdain for the security forces. That is what has happened. So comrades, I'm counting on all of you again. Stay focused. Stay on the message. Our rallies are about messages. They're not about cussing anybody. Like all they do at their rallies is cuss Irfan Ali, Jagdeo, and the PPP. They have nothing else to do. They're all around the country. That is the only thing. They can't talk about their achievements, and they can't talk about the future. When we talk here, we talk about progress. We talk about development plans. And I want all of you to take this message back into your communities. Thank you very much, comrades. Thank you for being here.
Region 5, are we ready? We're voting PPP come March the 2nd. We're returning progress to Guyana and our region. My brothers and sisters, it is with great pride and confidence I want to present to you our next speaker. My brothers and sisters, this community stands as evidence of its leadership because it was the vision of the People's Progressive Party civic government under its astute leadership. We as a region and as a community would have seen the development of Block D, of Waterloo, of Hope, an experiment where many of you normal, regular citizens of this country now call home. My brothers and sisters, our presence here today is an indication that with our vote on March the 2nd, we will allow him to transform this same set of development across Guyana. My brothers and sisters, Region 5, let us give a dynamite welcome to our presidential candidate and the next president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali.
Thank you. Thank you. My brothers and sisters, Region 5, I say to you, yes, 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 victory is on the way to the People's Progressive Party Civic. Today, as we are gathered here, I cannot help but join in a statement by our General Secretary. Today,
The message has changed. They have realized they cannot tackle us on the ground anymore. So in social media and in the newspaper ads and in letters, the message is changing. Let me be very clear. The elections of March the 2nd is not about Afro-Guyanese versus Indo-Guyanese. It is not about Amerindians versus any other group. It is not about mixed Guyanese versus any other group. March the 2nd is about every single Guyanese getting a better future. And I find it quite strange that many of those who are parading that they're different were once part of the PPP and some part of the PNC. But today, they want to claim differently. I want to make it very clear. The message of the People's Progressive Party Civic is one of unity, one of love, one of hope, one of respect, one about development, one of progress. On March the 2nd, you will be voting to end fear and bring back freedom. You will be voting to end disrespect and disregard for the Constitution and bring back constitutional rule. You will be voting for your families, for your children, for mining, for forestry, for the sugar workers, for the agricultural sector. On March the 2nd, you are voting for Guyana by voting for the People's Progressive Party. You would have heard that over the last 5 years, they took away from you so much. They spent $1.3 trillion. That works out to $15 million for every single Guyanese, including the babies. What is there to show in your life? What is there to show in your community? After spending $1.3 trillion, you are today without your $10,000 because we care grant. Today, as we speak, $91 billion is extracted out of your pockets because of the more than 200 new taxes and license fees that they have brought upon you. Today, as we speak, they have emptied $118 billion from government deposits and the gold fund, the gold reserve. Today, as we speak, 30,000 Guyanese cannot provide for their families because they have lost their jobs. Today, as we speak, 60% of the dredges that were operating in 2015 are no longer operating today. Today, as we speak, businesses are closing. Businesses are closing, and our economy is getting worse. It is for this reason that we have outlined a clear plan and a clear strategy to take Guyana forward, back on the track of progress again. I heard our prime ministerial candidate said that they now say this booklet they launch is a new contract with the people. But before the people extend a new contract with you, they have to examine how you perform on the old contract. Why are they so afraid to speak of how they perform on their old contract? It is because they have lied in the old contract. They have betrayed you in the old contract, and they have took their eyes past you in the old contract. So never again must we even think about trusting them with a new contract. The next contract the people of Guyana will be signing is the contract with the People's Progressive Party Civic. Here in Region 5, we have a very important sector, the fishery sector. We have seen our folks in the fishery sector faced with many difficulties. Not only are they faced with a security threat when they go out there to ply their trade, but the taxes on equipment, and recapitalizing themselves is so much that their cost of operation is increasing. That is why on March the 2nd, we will be voting to support the revitalization and the re-energy of the fishing sector here in Region 5. To support our fishing folk, we are going to remove the taxes on equipment to help them to get back and to increase their production. We are going to help them to recapitalize. We are going to ensure we provide security for them, give them access to technology, and support them in accessing what is required to protect themselves when they go out to sea. We are going to support our fisher folk by ensuring we explore new markets. We bring back the catfish market that this government destroyed. We have to work on building a facility, a packaging facility, a storage facility that is of international standard, so that they can have access to the facility that will give them new markets and prepare them for new markets. We have to invest in the technology. We have to give them incentive so they too can invest in the technology. And as the government bring new regulations for this sector, we have to help our fisher folk to meet these new regulations so that they can remain competitive. This is what we have to do. And on March the 2nd, when you re-elect the People's Progressive Party Civic Government, you will be electing a government that will be a friend, a support, and a brother to our fisher folk. This region has tremendous potential for livestock farming, but you cannot realize that potential now. You know why? Because the land rent and land charges is driving people out of agriculture. You cannot afford it. On March 2nd, we have to reverse all those increases and give back the land to the people. Give you back your title. Not only must we give you back your land, but if we want to promote agriculture to the younger generation, we will be investing in the opening up of new lands so they can have ownership of agricultural land too. As we focus on the livestock industry, we have to work on bringing in better breeds of animal. better breeds, so we can target new markets. There are many new markets that exist that can support a strong livestock industry. But a strong livestock industry requires a government to invest in the infrastructure that would support the industry. We have to build a state-of-the-art abattoir. We have to build a state-of-the-art packaging facility, a storage facility that meets international standard, so you can have access to higher and better paying markets. And this is the promise of the People's Progressive Party Civic when you vote for us after March 2nd. We don't only have a fixation on oil and gas. There are many other segments of the Guyanese economy that can create tremendous wealth. We have to use the resources from oil and gas to open up opportunities in these areas, to build the infrastructure to ensure that these new areas and new opportunities are strong, resilient, and bring the economic prosperity it can bring. And this is what you're voting for on March the 2nd. A diversified economy, a strong economy, a balanced economy, an economy that supports the aspirations, the dreams, the hope, and the desires of every segment of the Guyanese population. That is what we need, and that is what the People's Progressive Party Civic will deliver to you after March the 2nd. And rice is a major sector in this region. You would have heard from the government that they believe rice is private business. Rice is not government business. But let me make it very clear. Every single grain of rice is government business, and after March the 2nd, the government is going to make the rice farmer its business. And we will start from day one by reversing the taxes on the equipment and machinery that they charge our rice farmers. We're going to start by reversing those drainage and irrigation charges, by reversing those new land rent fees. We are going to take it back to 2015 and remove the burden they have brought on you, the rice farmers in this region. We are going to once again reinvest in drainage and irrigation by budgeting every year resources to support drainage and irrigation for our farmers, our rice farmers, and every farmer here in Region 5 after March the 2nd. And we have heard you. We have heard you. Many rice farmers today are saying to us that they have problems at the bank. We are going to work with the rice farmers and the commercial banks to reschedule your loans so you can get back on your feet again. That is what we will do. We're going to ensure that where you have lost production, that you get back in production by giving you seed paddy to get back your crop going again and increasing the production. And we know that our rice farmers are faced with difficulties when you have weather condition like we have these days. That is why we're going to explore the establishment of a rice stabilization fund to help rice farmers in the time of need and distress. That is what you'll be voting for on March the 2nd. You will be voting for a government that will be supporting you on exploring newer variety to give you higher yields. You'll be voting to return the extension service that the government once gave you. In essence, you will be voting for a prosperous, fulfilling future for the rice sector in Region 5 and all across Guyana. And how can we forget our cash crop farmers in this region? Those farmers that got 5-bed shallot. You remember what happened to you? GRA came to count how much bed you have in your yards. GRA launched an assault on these small cash crop farmers. After March the 2nd, we will end that assault on our small cash crop farmer. We're going to give you market support. We're going to support you. We know that your cost of transportation is very high. We are going to support you and help you to bring down your cost of transportation so your produce can get to the market faster and cheaper. That is what you're voting for on March the 2nd. You will be voting for the establishment of a packaging facility, a storage facility that will buy the excess from our small farmers so that we can package, store for export. That is what you'll be voting for. Sustainable markets, new markets, higher prices, and support to the cash crop farmer. These are the things that will make a real difference on your table. These are the things that will determine whether your family can survive or whether you will fail to provide for your family. These are the things that will determine whether the economy in Region 5 is strong or weak. We are going to fix it so the economy in Region 5 will return to strength, hope, strength, and hope after March the 2nd. And let me make it very clear. Let me make it very clear. The oil and gas business will not be restricted to one region. We have to build a capacity in every single region. And here in Region 5, we have to build the infrastructure and capacity to bring industrial development, manufacturing, and the services sector to expand here in Region 5, bringing jobs and new opportunities to the people of Region 5. That is what you're voting for on March the 2nd. You'll be voting for a state-of-the-art regional hospital. We started the transformation of the health sector. We started it, but you know what took place. Today, as I speak to you, every single Guyanese that would have needed a heart bypass or help to have dialysis or any specialty care, you would have gotten that right here in Guyana, free of cost. But let us not forget who stopped it. It was when they had the one-seat majority in Parliament. They denied you the opportunity of having that specialty hospital. They denied you the opportunity of saving lives. They denied you the opportunity of having access to world-class health care. But on March the 2nd, you will be voting to fix this, because when you elect the PPP, you are going back to a government that will bring the specialty hospital and make it a reality here in Guyana. You're voting for a government that would ensure when you go to the hospital, you are not told that the answer for everything is Panadol, and they don't even have the Panadol at the health centers. No, we have to support your health needs by ensuring we have the medical supplies and medication to support a healthy Region 5 and a healthy Guyana. That is what you will be voting for on March the 2nd when you go to the polls. You will be voting. You will be voting. Today, I was at Blairmont, and some of the comrades came to me and they said that they're afraid to open their water bills now, because not only have they added VAT on your water, but they have increased the water rate very silently by more than 300%. On March the 2nd, you would not be afraid anymore, because we will remove the VAT and we will go back to the small charges you had in 2015 for the water sector. And that is not all. When we left government in 2015, we left a water master plan. And according to that water master plan, by today, every home in Region 5 should have had treated water. But we have seen a mismanagement of the funds, and we have seen those projects axed out of the budget. But on March the 2nd, you are going to vote for a government that will bring 100% treated water coverage to you here in Region 5. These are the things that matters. These are the things that means whether you survive or perish. And on March the 2nd, you are voting for survival of every single Guyanese. I said this before, but a victory for the PPP is a win for every single Guyanese. Let me hear you say, yes, yes, yes. My brothers and sisters, look at our electricity rate today. If they were not so selfish and they had pursued the Milas Falls Hydro project, by today your electricity rate would have been 70% less than you're paying today. So if your bill today is $10,000, had they completed that project, your bill would have been $3,000. But we have news. On March the 2nd, you are voting for the return of the Milas Falls Hydro project, so that your electricity rate will come down, so that you will get more savings and more money in your pocket. This is what you're supporting. These are the things you are supporting when you vote for the People's Progressive Party Civic on March the 2nd. And I know our Prime Minister candidate addressed the issue of crime. But let me say this. I just want to emphasize 2 points. One, the first point is that we have to have community involvement in crime fighting. And that community involvement means the revitalization of community policing. But times have changed. And we have recognized that they too must be compensated for their services. And on March the 2nd, when you vote for the PPP, you're voting for this. And for our men and women in uniform, I just want to add 2 more points. As the presidential candidate, when you vote on the 21st, you are voting for better opportunities for your family. You are voting for a government that would ensure it build a welfare system that take care of your families under any circumstances. And you will see today, we have made it public that we are going to re-examine the issue of overtime for you, men and women in the uniform. We are going to re-examine this issue. These are the things that means a lot to you. And these are the things you are voting for when you vote for the People's Progressive Party civic government. You are voting for a government that will put money back in your pocket, a government that will invest in ICT. Many times you say to us, you want a campus of the University of Guyana here in Region 5. But after March the 2nd, we will be bringing University of Guyana education to every single home, to every single house. Not only are we going to bring University of Guyana education to your home, but we are going to make it free of cost. So no, you have no economic reason. Economic reason must never be a factor as to why Guyanese will not achieve a university education. This is what you are voting for on March the 2nd. Let me hear you say yes, yes, yes to the People's Progressive Party civic. You are voting not only for the reinstatement of those 50,000 jobs, of those 30,000 jobs, but you are voting for a government that will deliver 50,000 jobs for you here in Guyana. To our miners, from the time this government launched their booklet, yesterday to now, every single miner I know, and trust me, I know a lot of them, called me. And they called me and asked for reassurances. As the presidential candidate, let me reassure every miner and every worker in the mining sector that we will work with this sector to ensure it is profitable, to ensure it's viable, and to ensure it survives. We are going to invest and support investment in the mining sector. We are going to return that because we care grant. But not only are we going to return that because we care grant, we are going to make it $50,000 per child. And we are going to ensure that no child ever have to stay out of school because they don't have uniform, or they don't have access to transportation, or they don't have textbook, or they don't have the stationery. On March the 2nd, we will return the uniform, we'll return the textbook, we'll return the stationery, we will return the children to school. This is what you're voting for on March the 2nd. Make no mistake, on March the 2nd, you'll be voting to support our pensioners. Not only the doubling of their pension to $40,000 per month, but you will be voting to give them better access to health care. You will be voting to give them a longer life expectancy, because we are going to invest in their welfare. We are going to invest in their health. We are going to invest in every aspect of improving their life and making their conditions of living better. That is what you are voting for on March the 2nd when you vote for the People's Progressive Party. On March the 2nd, when you vote for the People's Progressive Party Civic, you will be voting to help our small farmers, because in our manifesto, we have made provisions with small loans and grant facility to help our small farmers. That is what you'll be voting for. We understand that small farmers cannot survive with a high interest rate. That is why we will build a financial model that will support them with grant facility and low interest loans. That is what you're voting for on March the 2nd when you vote for the People's Progressive Party. When we launched the 1,000 scholarship program, the Jack Day Initiative, we saw our country getting 1,000 doctors, engineers. Well, we want to do 20 times better. That is why your next government will be investing in 20,000 scholarship for the children and the people of this country. That is what you're voting for on March the 2nd. You're voting for the removal of the taxes on data to make internet less costly and cheaper for you. You're voting for the removal of taxes on cell phone, making cell phone ownership easier for every single Guyanese. That is what you're voting for when you vote on March the 2nd. You're not only voting for the removal of the age limit on the imports of vehicles, but you're voting for the reduction of taxes on the purchase of new vehicles, making vehicle ownership easier for every single Guyanese. That is what you're voting for. You're voting after March the 2nd. Remember, when we signed the Marriott deal, they were protesting outside. It was President Jack Day who said at that time, we don't need one Marriott, we need 2, 3, 4 Marriotts. I want to assure you that under our next government, you will see many, many more Marriotts and the likes of, creating jobs, bringing opportunity to people. But we have to invest. In the infrastructure to support the jobs that will come. We have to invest in the infrastructure that will support the jobs that will come. That is why on March the 2nd, when you vote for us, you are voting for an International Institute of Excellence for oil and gas, for environmental studies, for biodiversity, and importantly, you are voting for an Institute of Hospitality Management here in Guyana. This is what you are voting for when you vote for the People's Progressive Party Civic on March the 2nd. So my brothers and sisters, you're voting for the return of the LCDS and the opportunities the LCDS brought to you. Young people, you're voting for better access to technical education. You're voting for affordable housing. We are not going to stop until every single housing application is processed and you own your own home and your own house lot. That is what you're voting for. You're voting for freedom. You're voting for dignity. You're voting for hope. You're voting for success. You're voting for prosperity. You're voting for fairness. You are voting for a better Guyana. Let me hear you. Yes, 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 yes. So my brothers and sisters, as we embark on this journey after March the 2nd, we have done everything we have done so far has been executed well. But we are on the final lap now. And this final lap is very important. All of us have a responsibility. We have to bring every vote out. We have to ensure before March the 2nd, we check the OLE. Make sure our names are there. Make sure we know where we are voting. And make sure we go there, we line up, we stay in the line, and we vote solidly for the People's Progressive Party. And in doing so, you have to ensure that your ballot is stamped, and on the top of the ballot paper, you'll be putting your X in the box next to the cup, electing your government, and on the bottom, you'll be putting your X in the box next to the cup, electing your regional government. That is what you'll be doing. And by doing this, my brothers and sisters, you will be ending the bullyism that is taking place at the RDC in Region 5. We have a duty to end this bullyism, and on March the 2nd, with your vote, with your support, we are going to end this. The journey for a better Guyana is a journey for every Guyanese. The journey for a stronger Guyana is a journey for every Guyanese. But we can only do this together. Don't let anyone separate us. Watch out for the propaganda and help us to fight racism. Help us to fight any effort to divide us, because the PPP believe only in a united, strong, prosperous Guyana. And on March the 2nd, you're returning Guyana to a strong position by electing the People's Progressive Party Civic. I thank you. We love you. God bless you. Yes, yes, yes.
Region 5, are we ready for victory? Are we voting PPP? My brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for coming out in your numbers and supporting the People's Progressive Party, and continue to march with us as we march along come March the 2nd to a victory that all will remember. My brothers and sisters, we're almost there, and I want to urge you, it is with the same enthusiasm and confidence we shall, on March the 2nd, turn out in our numbers and vote solidly for the People's Progressive Party Civic, and ensure that we form the next government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. So as I thank you, I would want to now invite Comrade Harry Gale to entertain us, even as you go around and make your exit. Thank you very much. Region 5, we're indeed stronger together. and we shall remain so for a better Guyana. Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to hear something about the lying ministers. You know, all of them. You can't trust this government. All right. Region 5.
I know a fella, Granger Danger, illegal president of Guyana. The man has no vision, no morality. He lying with the power, fooling everybody. His ministers and all lying through their teeth. The good life never come, poor people can't eat. The jobs they were promised sounded real nice. They went to tell them sell chips and cook on rice. They hide the 80 million US from we. Then deny they get X on all money. Then they lie they raise their own salary. They say these are rumors of the PPPC, but the official gazette confirmed the truth. Granger says his ministers deserve the loot. I have to pay my ministers fat cat salaries to prevent right-taking in the ministries. Lies? You hear lies?
Lying ministers.
H.E. Basil Williams, the other liar, gets set up by Hughes, the other lawyer. If you want defeat, they no confidence. Challenge it in court with the evidence. He tell Basil don't worry about the 33. It's 34 votes they need to defeat me. The jumpy mathematics should embarrass you, but it's the lie that the lying got his stupidity. Moses the liar took the stage in rim, telling the crowd to believe in him. He never traveled first class, that's what he's aimed. He wouldn't tell a lie to spoil his good name. The track to expose his hypocrisy. His Cadillac lifestyle in a poor country. Moses can be trusted, he's a no scam. For the good life he turned Granger's rubber stamp.
Lying ministers.
Then thief in Pato, the other liar, thinks he's more smart than that minister. He built Jubilee Park, renovate the airport. Plenty money, misery, the HE report. This China trip was paid for by government. The Chinese reimbursed them every cent. But 9,000 US, he's yet to explain how the money ended up in the bank in his name. Security minister, the other liar, say the crime rate is down in Guyana, but every day the people they live in fear. Young bicycle bandits are everywhere. They burned down the prison, many died in pain. The ministers unbothered, he not take the blame. But they closed the nightclubs and bars too, while he busy getting drunk with Nagalutu. You hear truth? That is truth. Truth? You hear truth? Minister Norton, the other liar, rent a house for $14 million from a campaign donor to the PNC to store hospital drugs for the ministry. When Anna said no tablet was in the place, Norton challenged him in an outrage. When Parliament checked the bond late that night, only condoms and lubricants were in sight. Minister Volga, the other liar, looking for a Spanish-speaking doctor, but he must be card-bearing PNC. She says she not give work to the PPPC. She violated procurement laws again, gave $500 million drug contract to her friend. The kickback she received from Answer McCall was a David Granger arch near Georgetown seawall. Guyanese, these people have no shame. They're coming with lies and deception for your votes again. Remember the good life they failed to deliver? Go to the polls on March 2nd, make them suffer. Man, look, send them packing, you hear?
All right. That was the lying ministers.
Guyanese, beware of APNU. Beware the AFC and Nagamutu. Our constitution is in jeopardy. They're holding on to power for the oil money. Now after 4 years of incompetence, Bharat moved the vote of the confidence. But if you put them back there, I'm warning you, Guyana will be worse than 92. They drug on corrupt, they thief the money. Durban Park corrupt, they thief the money. The ministers corrupt, they thief the money. They live in the good life with our money. On election day, turn out in strength. We put the PPPC in government.
All right.